podcast, a streaming of Las Plumas de Simón. My name is Plumas and I'm gonna be your host for the afternoon. Salam! Oh, my dear Aziza, my dear Bacha, how are you? I just called you dear twice, so that you could feel yourself blessed for the afternoon. Hello Nana, hello Oloko, how are you? I know I started the live stream and then I had to stop it and then I put it back on, but I had to stop it again because let me tell you something. Why would someone want friends to embarrass yourself when you can do that alone? Because let me tell you something, I was audio testing because every time you see me entering the live pod, hello Nefer, Salom, hola! Oh my god, I said you're improving your Spanish? Afarin, I know you're going to be an expert very much soon. Please help me with my Persian. It desperately needs some aid. As I was saying, when you see me entering the live pod, I am audio testing normally and I am checking that everything's good. Hello, little kitty. Hello, Cuevas Martinez Jose. That sounded like a very good name, but it's really nice to see you here. And where was I at? I get really excited when I start a live stream because I love greeting you so much. One of my favorite parts ever. But yeah, I was saying that I was audio testing and stuff because I checked that the lighting is good, the image is good, that the audio is good. As Cooling is playing, and as I am having a little bit of a jam myself in here. But what happened that I was audio testing and for some reason Lulu was not working and I slightly panicked a bit because hello Tierra, how are you? Oh, a Tierra, whatever you might prefer. How would you prefer for me to address you? Just let me know. And what I did was just restarting everything because this would not have been the first time that I have a failure of a microphone mid-live. The problem is that I don't have a backup anymore because Goku, do you remember Goku? I think nobody in here has been with me for so long, but before Lulu June, which is this beauty over here, Lulu June is my microphone, and if you're new here, yes, I name all my things because this is my channel and because I can afford doing that. I love naming my things. So Lulu June had many predecessors, but among them was the original one, the very first microphone I purchased. Thank you, patrons, for allowing that to happen. With the A as in Spanish, beautiful, adira. Perfect. See, this is what I want, clarity, communication, everything's flowing already. So Lulu had the original microphone I purchased. His name was Goku because actually that was the name of the brand, like, you know, the Super Saiyajin, like Son Goku. His name was Goku, and we had Goku for quite a long time, and then we got Jiroft, which means giraffe, which was a beautiful perched microphone, but that stopped working one day, and that was a little bit upsetting. Oh, you know Goku from YouTube. Oh my god, that's from ancient times, but I have a beautiful memory of Goku, always in my heart. The Rash Kabiani of Mike's. Indeed he was, actually, and I love you for making that reference. You're among my favorite people all on this planet. So yeah, I was a little bit upset that Jiroft stopped working because that had been a present from a very dear friend of mine. In fact, from my older half orange, as we say in Spanish, my dearest best friend, and she and I could not understand why that one had stopped working. But then, thanks to the aid and support of my patrons, I could get Lulu June, and I am very happy with Lulu. I think the audio quality is incredible. I am thinking about purchasing perhaps another camera, but for now is a little bit off my league, at least, you know, for now. Maybe in the future, if I get more patrons or if I want to make that investment, I need to think about it. But for me, Lulu was more important because the voice is something I value a lot in my live streams. And yeah, I think I've always put first sound over image because I got the camera I'm recording with is an external camera. Well, of course, because my laptop is terrible. But I first retransmitted with my MacBook. My MacBook that is 13 years old and still works. It's just here, down just controlling everything from there, like the ancient deity that she is. And I was I was going live from that computer and people still came to see me. That is something that meant a lot to me back in the day because my image quality was just, the video was just terrible, awful, utterly discouraging. But still, people came. So, thank you for being here. How are you, Totori, Tehabar? What are you telling me? Our school glasses, of course, ready. And I have a beautiful black tea with hints of clove. And something else that I cannot remember, but I can smell. It should not be, it mustn't be star anise because I'm not the biggest fan, but it smells similar to that one. Anywho, so today, oh my god, today, I am so excited for this live stream as per usual because I am a person that gets excited over things. Like, that's my thing. That's what I do. I love pelicans, tea, and the Persianate. And getting excited over these three former things. So, today we're going to talk about something a little bit special because it's not the most known theme or topic surrounding the history of Iran or the Iranic territories. Yet to me is fascinating and very interesting, and I couldn't wait to share it with you. Also, I need to tell you something. Actually very sweet that happened this week. I got recognized. And I got recognized by someone because of something related to my work. And this person messaged me over social media and asked me, "Is this you, Plumas?" And attached an image. And turns out this person is also a big fan of my professional work. Not mine personally, but like the work that I participate in, the company I work for. And top ranking channel messaged me on tweet. Azizam, you are super sweet. And possibly top ranking and definitely the loneliest ranking ever. Because if there is someone out there streaming the channel, please let me know. I must know this person. But yeah, I got recognized. And I have to tell you, I admit I hate being recognized, but at the same time I love meeting you. Like seeing you and meeting you and talking to you is something that it just makes my heart warmer and I really like it. But at the same time, this feeling of not knowing what to say invades me and takes me captive because the last time I was recognized in person and someone asked me, "Are you Plumas from Las Plumas de Simur?" I was like staring at her. Like properly staring, Bacha. It was not even a polite look. No. It was like a glare because I felt like a deer in the headlights. I definitely was out of words. And I'm a verbose person. I am a very verbose person and I missed things to say because my first impulse was saying no. Which is pretty obvious that I am Plumas. I mean, if you are a member of this channel and this community, if you see me on the street or if you see me somewhere, it's very hard mistaking me. I have a very, like, if you know me, you know me. But yeah, my very first instinct was saying, no, that's not me. I felt terribly and uncomfortable, but at the same time, please keep on telling me when you see me. Because I love greeting you and meeting you and seeing that you're like there. Oh my god, it's such a beautiful feeling. Oh, salam de gare bache, actually, because it's only you. How are you? Hui. Hale to khube. I should be a little bit politer because Deigar is my... I should address you as Shoma. Deigar, what do you think? What you reckon? Do you want me to address you as Shoma? Or are we good with To? You let me know. Nefer, same question goes for you. I could feel your heart skipping a bit, being like, my god, no. If you are not very familiar with what I'm saying, is in Persian, same as in Spanish, there is the second form of plural, saying you, that in Spanish and in Persian, we have a voice that is a little bit respectful, that you should use to address people you perhaps don't know, people that are older than you, people that you pay kind of like respectful distance to. And that is, instead of saying to, which means you, like an informal way, you say shoma. That means you, usted, like in a very formal way. And normally people dislike being called Shoma, but that I like usted. I like the voice usted, and I like Shoma because to me that shows respect, and I love being respectful. I mean, after all, Persian is the language that invented Tarov, but Tarov kills people. I mean, one day I think we need to dedicate. I need to gather all my Persian-speaking people, and we need to talk about Tarov like in extension, as a like digress and dissert about Tarov because. My goodness, it is a handful. It is a lot. I'm old enough so you could do so, but I'd be more comfortable by taught than taught. Is it never you? Tarov indeed kills people. It's like it is terrible. I mean, if you know what Tarov is, I am sorry. I mean, if you have experienced Tarov, I am deeply sorry for you. Although it's at the same time tiring and exhausting, but also so fun and such a nice way of getting to know the Iranian mindset and how that one works. But yeah, when I was living in Iran, I've said this like multiple times, but I like remembering my trip to Iran. I cannot wait to go back. I was living in Iran for a couple of months, actually for 4 months, and I experienced Tarov quite often. And I swear that I couldn't believe myself. Everything I've heard, everything I had been warned about, everything I had been kind of trying to make me like a heads up for me, it was nothing. Literally, it was nothing before the real deal, which is seeing a person trying to pay for something for you. Let's say a tea, a meal, or a taxi ride. My goodness. I remember the first thing I felt very powerful and encouraged to say was Tarov Nakon, which is a very informal and direct way of saying, do not Tarov me, Tarov Nakon. And I was like, don't, because if not, my Iranian friends would turn me completely crazy. So basically one of those polite ways to harass someone for being old. I love languages with that tool. Uloko, do you speak more than one language? How many languages do you speak? It basically means more Tarov. It doesn't. It does no Tarov Nakon Biba. Lutfan Tarov Nakon. That means please do not Tarov me. Anyway, after this 15-minute dissertation about Tarov and its dangers, today, oh, I'm so happy. Today has come. The stars have aligned. I asked, I requested, and my patrons so much delivered. Thank you for your support as per usual, and thank you for responding to the call like the Bachirim you are. I can just picture you marching into the fields of Pelennor, the goal being me just sobbing and pleading you to pick the topic of Jiroft, because yes, that is correct. Today we are going to talk about the culture of Jiroft, and more specifically the chlorite artifacts they produce. But allow me, as I am looking, I have a million images, like 36 to be more precise, and they're a lot. And what I mean by this is that probably I turned into a 65-year-old lady from Great Britain for a second. Probably I'm going to forget to show you many of them. But if you want to check them out, be sure to join our Discord server. Oh, such a good time, and you can follow the link over there. Join the community. Come with us to our mountain in Discord. I am very tempted to name my Discord server Mount Qaf. And if you know, you know. No soy Rose. Here's my vizier. Here's the joy of my eyes and definitely the light of my heart. Hello. Oh my god, 30 months. 30. That is 30 on a row. Tier number 2. Supporting me since the very much beginning. Te como la cabeza. I'm sorry, I cannot eat that. I cannot eat that. I cannot say that in English with the same effect. As you know, I'm a native speaker of Spanish, and some things don't have the kick for me. But yeah, I eat your head. It's not even funny in English saying that. I just, no, we're good. So, I was talking about images. I have a lot, like many of them. So please forgive me if I forget some of them. But go to just go to Discord if you want to see them, because I'm going to be sharing them through the weekend most probably. And through the rest of my life, because I have accumulated a solid amount of images from the Jiroft culture, and I am very happy about it. So today, as I was saying, thank you for laughing at my stupidity, Nosotros. You make me feel so much heard and understood. Today we're going to talk about Jiroft. And let me tell you something. I'm going to start a section, not just here on Twitch, but in my life as well. And that section is going to be titled Things That Keep Me Humble. And why do I say this? Because when I was telling the patrons and I was insisting to my beautiful, beautiful patrons to pick this topic, I was mentioning it in previous live streams. I was talking on Discord and on the Telegram channel. I think I did mention it one or twice. But the thing is that I was talking all the time, like non-stop, about the metal artifacts this culture produced, and metal and metal and metal and bronze, to be more specific. And when I started researching to put my notes down and just compose this script, I realized that it was not these artifacts I was talking about. I was thinking of the bronze culture of Lorestan, which is a province in the north of Iran. So I was mixing them up. Why do I say this? Because sometimes you just come to people and thinking they have the absolute knowledge. Sorry, excuse me, I'm just going to slip over there. And they have the absolute knowledge. And sometimes you message me and say, oh my God, Plumas, you're so intelligent. You know so much. To hell with that. I forgot things. I mix and match all the things. So yeah, I was pretty much insistent about the bronze artifacts from Jiroft. Turns out the material is chlorite, and what I was thinking about is the bronze of Lorestan. Bronze of Lorestan. The brighter side, like the upper side of this, is that now I can offer my patrons the topic of the bronze of Lorestan to choose, which is also very beautiful and very, interesting. So there you go. If you want to join this conversation and if you want to actually get a saying in what comes here to Twitch and pick not only new topics to choose from them, but, get access to behind the scenes stuff and extra bits, you can also support me on Patreon. I'm pretty sure there would be a tier for you. And now I want to tell you this stream is going to be full of stories, and I love that because I'm a storyteller, if anything. So these artifacts, and actually I'm going to change this one, but I want to show you the artifact that started everything, because here it is. It's so beautiful. This vase actually has a very important significance to me, and let me tell you why. The culture of Jiroft I first became acquainted with in 2019 when the Archaeological Museum of Alicante in Spain, MARQ, they kindly invited me as a guest to their major exhibition, Iran, Crater of Civilizations. I would show you the catalog, which, by the way, I already have done on Instagram. There's a video somewhere on my profile showing you this catalog, but currently it's not at my house. Are those gemstones or raisins? As in like sultanas to eat, or resin, as in from trees? Because I need to know to answer properly the question. So yeah, this was a beautiful exhibition, and the Archaeological Museum from Alicante managed to get a few artifacts labeled Jiroft, and I'll explain why I say labeled a bit after. And then I saw them live, and more precisely, I saw this one live. They were stunning. And I was starstruck. I could feel a cold, satisfying shiver down my spine. And I knew, but I knew that was the start of a new chapter in my academic life. I had discovered a completely new field for me. And it was exciting as it was daunting, because getting to know a culture from the utter basics, it's not always easy, let me tell you, but I jumped head first. I wanted to know everything there was to know. And even if I do not consider myself a big expert on the Jiroft culture. I am just a passionate lover of these artifacts and their iconography. So I reckon I have mustered enough information to share with you today. And who knows, perhaps this is your first encounter with Jiroft and, like me, the start of a beautiful fascination. And allow me a digression here. This is one of the reasons I love this project as much as I do. It permits me to take you through fascinating journeys and be the first steps you take into the ladder of something greater. And I feel fortunate for that. Okay, so are those gemstones or are they snacks for after work? These actually could possibly be filled with pieces of shell or precious or semi-precious stones. What you see, actually the holes, the pokes on it would have been filled if you look closely to that. Cheers and thanks for it. Nefer Aziz Delam, thank you so much. Oh my god, Nefer is such a big enthusiast. And I love her being here. Thank you so much. And I was not joking about the Persian thing. Please help me speak Persian again. I used to. Cheers to that. And yeah, these holes, these spaces would have been filled with semi-precious stones, precious stones, perhaps other pieces of metal, and resin, shell, but I'm sorry, not resins. Maybe one or two, I don't know, like 100%, but I don't know. And now, after, sorting out this question about the resins, which I know it was something you all needed to know, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's stream, or to the rocks and chlorite, if we're accurate. But let us discover and learn together about the culture of Jiroft. We're gonna start in the where. I have mentioned this multiple times. Where are my novice one? There you go. I do not get tired of repeating it. The landscape and the timeline are equally important. So first we need to situate ourselves in the proper context. Jiroft is a sub-province in the south of Kerman in Iran. It is located in the middle section of the Halil-Rud, the Halil-Rud Valley, actually. The Halil-Rud is a river that's oriented northwest to southwest and is 400 kilometers long. I just know that, like, it is a very, very long river. And bear in mind that Jiroft, I'm going to repeat this quite often through the stream, but bear in mind, Jiroft is a modern city. It's a city you can visit today. Like, Jiroft exists. It's not the name of this ancient culture. It's not the name of this ancient civilization. It is a modern city. Yeah, here you have the map of Iran, and you can see all the beautiful landscapes in there, like Susa, Anshan, and Tehran. I honestly don't know why Tehran is there. I think it's to give viewers a little bit more of a context, maybe if they know where Tehran is. But here we have Susa and Anshan. I'm gonna cheer to Cyrus myself, so if you care to join me, lift up your glasses for Kuroshe Bozorg, Cyrus the Great. Is that a region blessed, not base, blessed with large deposits of chlorite? It is indeed, my dear butcher. I know, Susa. Honestly, we need to talk about Susa more. More. I really like when I switch to Spanish that it comes back in my accent. I mean, it never leaves because I pretty much like my accent and I act like I can roll my R's. But yeah, when I pronounce Susa like in the Spanish way, it always comes the R after it. Cheers to that. Cheers to Cyrus. Always, forever, our favorite. You know. This is such a nice tea, by the way. My teapot's here. Never worry, she's here. I need a samovar, but I cannot get myself like a one that's small enough because the samovars I've seen and wanted to purchase were like massive. And I cannot occupy that much space just myself because I don't live alone. Okay, so we were talking about the Halil route. In fact, let me show you a little bit better about the... I have a geographical map. There we go. This is a map from the Halil route Valley. We can see a little bit better how this is. The source of this river, which is massive, is directly in the Zagros Mountains. And do you want to know something exciting? Both Iranian and Arab geographers call this the Div Rud, the demon stream. I have no idea why. I've been trying to look for the reference or just find something to read about it, but I haven't managed to find anything. So if any of you out there know, please send me an email, drop me a message, contact me somehow, because I do want to know why this was called Div Rud. But most importantly, here, you see the valley, don't you? A source of water means human settlement. And in fact, the region of Jiroft is considered the most suitable for agriculture, thanks to the variety of the climate, because both cold and warm weather crops can be grown here. So here we have it, a wonderful place for nomadic tribes to come and go, and then for a society to establish a proper settlement and a whole city, and with time, a whole culture. Now, I wanted to dedicate a section of this live stream to explaining somehow the name of Jiroft, because Bocha, let me tell you something, names are important. Sounds like a pretty nice place for a demon to live. I also think that. I do think that too. So now, what do we mean when we say Jiroft or Jiroft culture? And then I'm going to tell you the second story for today, Bacha. In 2001, there was a massive flood in the modern city of Jiroft in Iran. Yeah, remember, Jiroft is a modern name and an existing modern city. It doesn't seem like a good weekend plan. Let's go to the River of the Thieves. Woohoo! I mean, it is completely a plan for me. I would dive in head first. I would be like, yes, please. But let's peacefully and undisturbedly observe them from the distance. Like, do not actually mess with them, as in, like, you know, get in contact with them. I just want to see them, admiring them, paying respects from the distance. So in 2001, there was a massive flood in the city of Jiroft. And the swelling of the river revealed the remains of an ancient necropolis from an unknown Bronze Age culture that must have flourished by the same time other cultures in Mesopotamia did. And most of these artifacts, however, and here's the first plot twist of the evening, these were not sent to offices and museums. In fact, there never was a proper excavation of the site. The flood and the water carried a notorious amount of artifacts that were, well, plundered. The swelling allowed ancient cemeteries and archaeological sites to be at hand, and to this day, there are still efforts to retrieve them. In the black market, there's like a handful of these. Let me show you another one, because why not? Let me show you the vessels. Oh my god, these are so lovely. The situation, though, is juicy enough to make a film, or at least another video game from the Uncharted franchise. Do you like that franchise? I do not particularly enjoy them, especially since they did this horrible take on Iram of the Pillars. I need to dedicate a live stream to Iram of the Pillars. Definitely. I have to. I've committed now. Patrons, you know what's coming next in the next poll. So yeah, there was a massive tide of stolen artifacts in the black market, and very little information on their origin. Because if someone gave out information, they're gonna get caught, and no one wanted that to happen. Some of them were labeled from Central Asia, like that meant anything, and people, like, just imagine how many of these were for sale. The people involved in this not so legal transaction started to think that these were actually pieces created by expert forgers. This could not be authentic because there were so many of them. They must have been, done by an excellent hand, but not the real deal. However, they kept coming and coming and coming because the flood had made it so easy to retrieve objects from the now unearthed cemeteries that led actually the Iranian police to think and start thinking and considering that maybe the artifacts could come from, clandestine excavations. I am gonna hydrate, thank you. Guts a lot. Here we have venom. Trusty companion, and actually I was thirsty. So yeah, just so you know, when you use a hydrate thingy, I don't drink tea, I drink water. If you want me to drink tea, you need to use a cheers one. Someone asked me this like 2 years ago. I hadn't thought of the dynamics of it, but it does have its own dynamics. So, as I was saying, the police were, on track. Police were on track in Iran, and more investigations kept being done. And then in 2002, a coordinated operation ended with the detention of various traffickers and allowed to retrieve enormous amounts of objects labeled from Jiroft ancient culture. So many people were arrested with this thing. Like, you have no idea how many of them were actually put in jail. Because when I tell you this was a massive thing, like, you need to believe me. And the movement of the stolen and purchased artifacts caused a notable activity on media, first in Iran and then into the rest of the world. And the label Jiroft started to be added to these antiquities. The name continued to be added in reports, in the news, in publications, the old city of Jiroft, the culture of the ancient city of Jiroft, the artifacts from Jiroft, and so and so and so. And then the repetition from 2001 onwards, because it's been from 2001 that we started using it. The Jiroft label has served to identify both the artifacts and their supposed provenance. Really, oh my god, usually these thefts go unpunished, but they did. I mean, This was massive. This was a scandal on the archaeological / art history world. It was such a big thing. But the truth is that the site was not exactly Jiroft as in the modern city. That's the reason why this name has been discussed and challenged, because of its inaccuracy. And the scholars that argue that are not wrong, because as you can expect from a city unearthed by a flood, what we know about the so-called Jiroft culture is very, very, let me say a third time, very little. For understanding purposes though, and given that the term Jiroft culture has made its way into modern day academia and is pretty much rooted in pop culture, I will continue to refer to it as such. However, the finger pointing to the sky means I have something important to say. I deemed important to mention this for you to know this, so you can, get familiar with the ins and outs properly before starting to talk about the artifacts and the civilization, because names have a strong power and labels have a very strong power as well. And I like how the name Jiroft rolls on the tongue. Jiroft. And I think it's important for me as the academic to show you the origin of things, because this is important for you to know that this is just a label that happened, happily, coincidentally fell onto these artifacts, but we don't know their name and we don't know the people that produced them. No. What's that, Uloko? So, you would think that it would be worthwhile for the Iranian government to start planting spies among looter circles so you can learn about new excavations going on. Possibly. You're not completely off, though. I mean, the archaeological sites in Iran are not especially well cared for, guarded, or taken care of. So I kind of consider the spy game something necessary. Seems not similar to modern Persian at all. The name Jiroft, I have no idea where it comes from, but that must have been at least like maybe an Arabic origin name or ancient Persian name. I have you know, okay? I do a little bit of a research and let you know what the original name, I mean like the Jiroft name come from. And now we are going to talk about the very little we know about this, and what should I show you? Oh yes. All right, so in here, I'm going to unveil myself because, you know, there's a lot of cows in here, okay? There's a lot of cows, and we like that because in here we support the team cow. But actually, I need to not confess, because if you've been here long enough, you know this already. But actually, I'm not a member of a team cow. My original team is a team ibex because I love those animals so much, and because ibexes are so important for Iran and the mythology, the literature, the understanding of the landscape, and so many things. But we're going to see all of them because, again, I have like a million vases. This one was also in Elegante, and this one's so pretty, like the details. Can you see the little calf? You have the cow, like mama cow, and then just like behind her, you cannot see the mom in here, but behind it is like, cheers for the team cow. Nefer, you're also in the team cow. I like that. How do we say team in Persian, Nefer? Would it be Team Egov? Like Team Cow? Team Egov? Yeah? I remember things. You know, when I get the approval of a Persian speaker, a new star lights up in the personal firmament that is my life. Look at me, such a poet. I'm being such an Iranian right now. Remind me, Nefer, how is this thing that you say when tarofing? The thing with I am the floor or the pavement underneath your shoes. How do you say that? I used to know, and it's completely escaped my mind now. I can't. I do remember the meaning. Like I am the soil. How was it? It was like, I am the ground you step on, and like the pavement or the carpet your feet land upon. Moncho ke zire patam. فکر میکنم بله من چک زیر پاتام نمیدونم ببخشید. Is that one? Oh, خاک, yeah. Man خاک زیر پاتام. I think that is that one. Yeah, basically that means I am the earth under your foot. I miss my Iranian friend so much. Jiroft, let's go back to Jiroft, okay. Alright, so if there's one figure of relevance to understand the discovery of the Jiroft culture, that is the archaeologist and Professor Youssef Mojdizadeh. But I haven't found a good picture of him, so we're gonna watch this artifact instead. Mojdizadeh was the first to start using the term Jiroft civilization as a distinctive code. ¿Qué pasó? Let me try again. Mojdizadeh was the first to start using the term Jiroft culture as a distinctive culture during the early Bronze Age. And that would be, according to his investigations, the origins of this culture would be located around the 3rd millennium before Common Era. Mojdizadeh was the director of the excavations there in the city of Jiroft from February 2003 and identified a series of burial spaces and some tepes. But Chad, do you know what a tepe is? Just in case. The tepe is an artificial hill that has formed on top of an infrastructure. a building sometimes, even a huge city, but it's not a hill that has been artificially or purposefully created. It's just something that time allows to happen. That is what we call a tepe. And these tepes included architectural complexes of considerable size, and both having a religious, like in each of these tepes, we have a religious edification and a civil building. And if you want to Google them to learn a little bit more about them, they are Konar Sandal North and Konar Sandal South. And according to the investigations of Majizadeh, this culture would have featured its own language. And actually, we do preserve a tablet. And let me check where that one is, because it's actually very interesting seeing how they composed a very, very I'm missing the word. A primordial script, like very simple but possibly very useful for them script. This would be their own local language, and they also would have their own culture and their own architectural style. This was such a big thing because Majizadeh, what he expressed was that the origin of this culture would have been even before the Sumerian Genesis. That meant the influence would not go from Mesopotamia to the Iranian plateau, but the other way around. Like, these culture over here would had influenced the crescent, like the Fertile Crescent, and that was something big, talking about the timeline of history as we know it. But decades later, however, all the scholars suggested that the Jiroft culture would have flourished centuries later than the genesis of Sumer. Basing the arguments in the excavations on the site, the timeline of Jiroft would not be as early, but moved to the second half of the 3rd millennium before Common Era, more or less. And that means the territory could have been influenced by both cultures from Mesopotamia and the Iranian plateau, including, never excluding, the contacts with Central Asia and the Transoxiana mountain range. The true apex of this culture appears to have happened around 2200 before Common Era, something like that. And I want to show you, not the landscape, I wanted to show you, there is a vase where we can see, this one. In here we can see the rounding, the surface of this vase is decorated with an architectural pattern, and it's beautiful. It looks like a palace to me, and actually if we look at it, we can see some similarities with much later actually, buildings, especially from Susa, from Ecbatana, from Pasargada. And I like that a lot. I like seeing these parallelisms so early in the culture. And if you're wondering what the steps, like the laddered pyramid is that a ziggurat? It could be a ziggurat, yeah. So there was a hidden player all along. Perhaps, yeah, maybe we sorry, I'm trying to sit more comfortably in my lovely chair. Actually, I tried a chair that is not a chair yesterday. You know, the one that you sit kind of like putting all the way in front, like on your knees. You kind of kneel on, and then your own body supports you. But it was a little bit low for me. I did not like it. I need to try that again. So cool, you think? I might do like a special live stream just trying the chair, just for the sake of it. Not here to interrupt, but the chair was all well as well. Hello, Jacin. Oh, Aziza and Bocha, you're gonna allow me to switch to Spanish for just a little bit. Hola, Jacin, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenida a mi montaña. And I'm back. Sorry. This is a dear person I know. As you could have guessed, definitely. And so yeah, why is this important? Why is important knowing about the timeline? Because I know I am the person that always tells you that, you know, dates is not something relevant. It is not something to shed a tear for if we just forgot about them. But during some decades, and possibly up to today, definitely up to today, there is still discussion about what came first. Was it the egg? Was it the chicken? Was it Jiroft? Was it Suma? And if we were to follow the earliest conclusions by Zode and other scholars, the civilization appeared in Jiroft would have preceded the emergence of Sumer, and therefore the influence would have traveled, as I was telling you, from the southern Iran to Mesopotamia. And that is important because, as Uloko was saying, there was a hidden player all along. However, after this research, I am much more sided with the opinion of other scholars, and Covington, Muscarella, Amia, among others, that give this culture a later timeline and suggest it may have appeared after the Sumerian Genesis. I think I am much more sided with that. I do agree with that. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting, here they are, the real deal of this live stream, the beautiful, beautiful chlorite artifacts that were produced according to research under this label of Jiroft culture that is so widespread and unfortunately so little known. I want to start with a disclaimer to myself. As per usual, I've said this already, but I just want to emphasize it again, just in case. Let me show you, how I show you this one? I don't know, but even if I have, look how gorgeous this one is. This is a Beastmaster. This is a person. I was gonna say fighting, but I think he's pretty much winning. He is a man conquering two cheetahs, like showing prowess over two cheetahs. And let me tell you something, grabbing cheetahs by the tail and lifting them up is definitely not something easy to do. This other timeline that is important. Is it China, of course, an effect? That is perfect, Uloko. Come on, Uloko, give me something to work with. Seriously, Hercules? I expected a little bit much. I expected a little bit more from this. Because Hercules might have put glad in gladiators, but this is not Hercules, and truly, Azizam, there was going to be many, many centuries to come and to develop stories before Hercules was ever conceived. I thought you were going to say Gilgamesh. Given that it reminds me of the Two Snakes story, but these are cheetahs. I mean, I can see that. Yeah, I can see the parallelisms. But we are talking, there it is, there he is, the absolute idiota that is Gilgamesh. If you're new here and you're just getting scandalized with how I address Gilgamesh, let me tell you something, I hate him with all my heart and soul. And yeah, I do not like Gilgamesh. I love the Epic of Gilgamesh so much. I hate him as a character, as a person, as a living being, because dumbass. And ooh, can I say that? Oh no, I'm not going to say that anymore because maybe Twitch will get angry at me and we do not want that. The disclaimer to myself, I'm sorry, I feel the need, the urge, the pulse to repeat this. I've got so many images for this session, like so many. Thus, I'd like to apologize beforehand because there is a good chance that I forget to show you all of them. And I will be sharing them over my Discord server, so take a stroll down that line if you'd fancy. People like being alive, but Plumas don't like Gilga being alive. I do not rejoice in the thought of him being alive close to me, nor to any of my beloved. I was wondering if Hercules' Two Snakes was a story imported from the East. I think the story of a hero overcoming any kind of dangerous creature at a very young age just exists. Because we have that in the Mahabharata as well in India. Possibly we have that in the Norse mythology. It's just that I'm not familiar with that. We have it in Greco-Roman culture. Maybe, I don't know, the Saka myths also had something like that. The Native Americans also did. I think the Mayans have something, not exactly with creatures, but with deities and the tale of the two twins. So yeah, I think it's just very cool. It's something that's very cool. And people like telling the story over and over. Cheetahs can also turn into snakes in translation. How come? I like that. I like that. But can you elaborate a little bit more? So let's see another one. Let's see another one because I've showed you this one. Oh, this one. So pretty. They are so gorgeous, so beautiful, as in like with beautiful emphasized in like bold, italics, underlined. The main reason I wanted to talk about Jiroft was this artifacts. To me, the complexity and the beauty of the artworks makes the topic 1,000 times valid and worth it. This is the Yazata of the topics. Let us remember that, and this is very sad, but very important. Let us remember that due to the retrieval of these artifacts from traffickers and not from an actual archaeological site, a valuable and substantial scientific knowledge has been lost forever. And some of the pieces are plainly decontextualized. And this is a knowledge we want to be able to get, at least for now. If another necropolis on Earth and there's a proper excavation and investigation carried out at the site, maybe we can get a much more detailed info about what these artifacts were for. Some of them we can imagine, but some others, like these ones, we have no idea. I wonder what colors were that. Sorry, I wonder what colors was on it. I don't know if these were painted, but definitely you can see remains of pigment in the holes, in the inlays of it. But mostly these were filled with, as I was saying, shell, semi-precious stones, maybe a paste that made them glitter. Shiny stuff. You know, like the Moana film. Do you know, you watch it? I wanna be shiny. That crab is my spirit animal. I love shiny. All the shiny we love. Yeah, I would love to have like a proper reconstruction of this one. It would be so cool. In the first half of the 3rd millennium before Common Era, a little bit of context here, and hello, the art historian has come. The Iranian plateau was at the crossroad of trade with its neighboring regions, and the Iranian plateau at the time looked like a mosaic of cultural eras. And this exchange was one of the reasons the iconography and the delicacy of the pieces came to be. The material of these artifacts is chlorite. A greenish, green, dark green, sometimes grey looking mineral that is quite easy to work with. It is very soft, and I know that might come across as strange because it's a rock, but it's very easy to carve. And some of these vessels, now let's go first to the ones we know what they contain. I've shown you these ones already. I want to show you another one. Oh, I need to show you the hyena. I have a hyena in here. Oh, incredible. I am going to show the cups because I just do not have the artifacts. I have drawings where you can see actually the patterns and the iconography a little bit better, but I want to show you the artifacts before, and then we can move into the drawings. I was saying that some of the vessels were destined, we know that they were destined to contain food or liquids, and perhaps the smaller ones, the very tiny ones, might have stored plants, herbs, aromatic mixtures, perhaps perfume. And then we have the so-called handbags or standard weights. But I have no idea what these are. I mentioned that they're called handbags. You can find them as handbags, but you can also find them as weight standard. And I have zero clue on what these were or were used for. I have no idea. I accept all the suggestions you might have because I have moved quite a lot in the academic world of the internet, and there's a lot of studies made about the materiality of these, about the iconography, about the possible meaning of the representations, but not about the actual thingy. Maybe they were weight trainers. Why not? I a very, very heavy and sturdy shopping bags. This is not me making fun of history. This is me trying to elucidate what the fudge was going on with this, because these are big. Like, this is like 30 something centimeters long, and I think 20 something centimeters tall. Like, this is not a tiny piece. It's not just like a... No, this is huge, and it's heavy. Again, what are these? I have no idea. I have not encountered a source with satisfying information about what these things were or their possible use. So if anybody, on the chat, on the world knows, I would be so happy to be educated. Please do educate me, enlighten me. And let me talk about the technique for a moment. These palm trees, by the way, are beautiful. You can see the dates, can't you? Like on the upper part of it, you can really see how they depicted the dates, and it's gorgeous. I wonder if there were loom weights. For example, I have in my last stream in Spanish, I declared, like, for me, these were I can't believe I'm gonna say this. These were door stoppers. For the door. I don't know if this is something that you might have outside Spain, but sometimes in Spain, especially in houses with elders, like grannies or aunties, what you would have is something very, very, very heavy, sustaining a door and preventing it from closing. And I think this might possibly be one of these. Oh, I have one with a snake, and I wanted to, there we go. I want to show you this one because this one's beautiful. So yeah, that I would use this to stop a door from being closed in my house because I'm Spanish and an old lady. Anyway, let me talk about the technique for a moment. And for the technique, we are gonna need my friend the hyena, because I am in love with the hyena, and actually it illustrates pretty well what I want to say. There we go. Normally the pieces show a sculpted or flat relief and a plain background, and scholars like Jean Perrault have identified different worships based on the different techniques. The inlays were used to accentuate the expressivity of the faces, and also, and this is the important bit, also render the texture on the skin and coat of the animals. What we have in here is a powerful observation of nature and a replication of it, and enough care and enough interest in the animals being shown as different. And here I wanted to show you the beautiful hyena, because it looks like a hyena, and I want you to see how the different inlays, both the shape and the direction of the inlays, can mark the fur here on the neck. Then moving downwards, we have this fluffier part that could be the tail put upwards. But for me, the most fascinating are the legs. Why is that? Because the legs do have the stripes typical of a hyena, and that is just pure interest. I have a better picture where you can see the hyena on the vase, and in here you can also see there is a dead bovine, possibly a cow, and you can see the bird on there. So that there's an interest, and there's an intention for these animals to be recognizable. And for that, we can show you, for example, where's my team cow? These ones are zebus, and the zebus have a very characteristic mane, especially the male ones. Down there, you have the cows, and the cows look different to the zebus. And what else do we have? Oh, I love this one. I'm going to show you this one a little bit later also, but I particularly like this one. This is a woman with two beautiful zebus, and you can see how the big furry mane has been depicted, and also the parts they have around the wrists and ankles. This is fur as well, and the rest of the body has been left, quote unquote, blank Team Cow. I'm really happy to see so many members of the Team Cow, but I'm getting jealous. So what we are going to see now are the other beauties, which are the ibexes. That is if I can find them. There we have it. And why do I like the ibexes so much? Because first thing is what is not to like about ibexes. But here, this is not the one I was looking for, but I'm going to leave you with this for a moment. You team MSMV like me. Yeah, I know. Where are my ibexes? I think they're in here, but it's just a little bit downer. Again, 36 images, and I'm already lost in the beauty of the Jiroft artifacts, which, if you ask me, is a beautiful place to get lost in. There you go. Well, actually, here we have the antelopes, which I want you also to see how beautiful they are. My God. My God, these are beautiful. And is this the landscape? It is. I found it. So I want you to look at the lower part of this drawing, which is from a vase. And in here, you can see a whole pack of ibexes. And you can differentiate between the youngest ibexes, the calves that actually have little horns on top of their heads. Then you have the female, which have a little bit longer, but the stripy, elongated horns with darker, which is like deeper inlaid. And finally, you have the alpha male, which is this big one. You have actually 1, 2, 3 males, the big alpha, which have these curved ram-like horns that goes sideways, sort of like a mustache, like a Team Ibex always. They are so cute, they're adorable. But I wanted you to see this because they're emphasizing nature and they're making sure you can see the difference between one animal and the other, because it would have been so much easier just leaving all the goats to look the same, yet they didn't. Why is that? Because the landscape and the animals were important for them, for their understanding of the world, for the construction and building of their own self-defining narrative, which is something I have been not using in a while and I missed it. So in here, you can actually see how the Jiroft people, the people from the ancient culture of Jiroft, understood the landscape, and also how these animals were rendered, because they are a source of raw materials, they're a source of food, and pretty much like many other populations in ancient Iran, these were nomadic people. So these wild ibexes were very familiar, and possibly they got in contact with many of these, because not now, since the hunting is not regulated in Iran and the ibexes are being massacred, if I must say so myself. Yeah, the ibexes are they are the brink of extinction in Iran, which is something terribly sad. And yeah, so in here, this is just my little call for please stop hunting the ibexes, thank you. How amazing it is to follow a historic person and the navigation through art and the pieces. I wouldn't have thought of that otherwise. It is gorgeous. And also see here, you can see the observation of nature and the importance also in this figure, because you see the lion and how different, the lion is bringing the dead cow to the lionesses, although we know it's the lionesses that hunt. But in here, they are presenting the lion as the leader of the pack, and the lionesses just come and feed of the feast he's got. What else I have? Oh my God, the Beastmasters. We need to talk about the Beastmasters, because the Beastmaster is such an important figure in ancient Near East, and the Beastmaster is basically a person that dominates nature and makes it basically surrender to it. And we have two types in here in the Jiroft artifacts we have, which could be classified in two types of iconography, which is wild animals, like existing things, feline, snakes, cows, ibexes, birds, domesticated animals, and let me show you, we also have a lot of snakes, because snakes were a tonic deity, and they were connected to the underground, and were very abundant, not precisely like negative as we can think. Oh, this one is, I love it, because they put teeth, as in tiny teeth, to the snake, and it's, to me, it's terrifying, because this is not how snakes are, like, at all, if you've ever seen snake. But the lioness and the snake have both the same teeth. I think it's so creepy. But at the same time, it's just amazing and adorable, and I like it. And for the mythological part, we have the scorpions, the scorpion man, which is a figure that was quite well known in Akkadian and Sumerian literature, and after a bit in Assyrian literature as well. And these, I want to ask you, Bacha, what do you think these are? And I'm gonna shut up for a few seconds. What do these look like for you? If you know, you can say the proper answer, because I know there's people repeating. Perfume flasks. That is a very good guess. Yet these are smaller. They're like this size. Like 5 to 10 centimeters. They're not larger than this. Very petite, very tiny. If you don't know, it's also okay. Don't worry. That's the reason I'm here. So these are actually pieces from a game. The game pieces, like pawns, because we preserve what we believe, and I say we because I include myself in the believers part, board games, boards that possibly were made for games. There's been a lot of discussion on what these were intended for. Some people said makeup palettes, which I think it would be the best of the best, because if there was a makeup palette in the shape of a scorpion man, I'd definitely purchase it. So I don't know, Kat Bundy, are you listening? The scorpion man is your go-to. But apparently they could be pieces for board games, and I love that. It's just beautiful and amazing. Oh, we also have not only these flat creatures, we have this falcon. The falcon is something else. So beautiful, so gorgeous looking. See how in here you can also see a little bit better how the inlays are emphasizing the plumes and the tail, not the tail, sorry, the feathers or the chest. It's just gorgeous. On the topic of Beastmasters, in here we have some of them, and I'm gonna show you. Here we have a Beastmaster controlling over two cheetahs, like the one we saw. But we also have a Beastmaster overpowering some snakes and some scorpion men. I know, the falcon is so gorgeous. In here, yeah, the falcon is amazing. And in here you have the Beastmaster, so you can see. And the person who has been connected to this iconographical archetype is actually Enkidu from the Epic of Gilgamesh. I don't know if you are familiar with Enkidu, but Enkidu was Gilgamesh's boyfriend. And I ship them. I hate Gilgamesh, I know I said that, but I do ship Gilgamesh with Enkidu. And Enkidu was a wild man, a creature created by the gods to actually defeat Gilgamesh, but it's like, it went a little bit southwest. The southwards. The plan of the deities. But yeah, this has been interpreted as maybe, perhaps, possibly, images from the Epic of Gilgamesh. But regarding what these images, yes, exactly. They were very, very close friends. Super close. Close as close can be. Do you also have, Butcher, a person who's a very good friend of yours? Ay, madre. Oh my god. So, regarding, what the images might mean, I would like to read a paragraph by Jean Perrault, and I very much agree with this, and here it goes. I quote, "The interpretation of images is a risky enterprise. Decorative themes are transmitted, but they sometimes end up expressing an ideology that is different from the one that was initially symbolized. Images have a life of their own, and they travel in space and time. Their meaning may undergo a change. Our interpretations are a function of our culture. Our interpretations, are a function of a culture and of our own myths. Moreover, when dealing with the Middle East, and its ancient spirituality, we tend to be content with notions found in late Mesopotamian literature. But such notions are anachronistic. Whatever the case, the iconography of the Iranian plateau should not be viewed through the prism of the Mesopotamian civilization." End of quote. Preach! Yes, say it, because I love it. Because I love it so much. I really like this idea, because we tend to do so whenever I present. I tend to do so when I present you with say, for examples, Mesopotamian literature, Mesopotamian food, Mesopotamian ghosts, and this and that. I tend to just compress everything under the Mesopotamia umbrella. And I know that I start every streaming saying this is millennia, this is history that should not be all packed together and just put forcefully under this label, but yet still we do that. And this is so interesting for me, because since we have no idea of what these artifacts were, perhaps they were not familiar with the story of Gilgamesh, or perhaps these people were, but so long ago, or maybe the tale had been so distorted, thank you for that, Nefer, that the meaning was lost or reinterpreted. Maybe Enkidu was a villain in this part. Another cheers, sorry, there we go. And perhaps, I don't know, we can invent, we can wonder, we can elucubrate, and maybe Enkidu was the villain in this story, or maybe Gilgamesh was never was never meant to be king of Uruk, or I don't know. We can devise and imagine and ponder, and but we don't know, and we tend to just assign these objects and these images things that we know ourselves from our age, day, and culture. This must be Enkidu. How do you know? It didn't come with a label, let alone an explanation. How do we dare ponder that this was in fact representing Enkidu from the Epic of Gilgamesh? It's just a vase with a person holding two snakes. Yes, but in Uruk, in Larsa, I know. But this is very, very, very far away. And we don't know how the information that was gathered in Mesopotamia arrived into here. It's not that the world was isolated, but communication was a little bit trickier back in the day. So, why do I say this? Because do keep a critical approach on this. Because sometimes we tend to just see everything through the prism of our own present time and eyes. And we forget about the people in the past, and we forget about other people's thought process, and we shouldn't do that, because unfortunately these artifacts cannot speak for themselves, and they cannot give us more information or a better insight on what their purpose was. But if we just assume that they were representing something and we are wrong, we would be erasing the thought of an entire population, and that is terrifying. And so I just wanted to end the stream with that note. Be critical with this, and not everything that appears in the ancient Near East is Gilgamesh related. Not every star is Inanna, not every son is Shamash. It doesn't matter if they coincide in time. They could have their own deities and their own thought process, and maybe originally they were the same, but they digressed. The Shahnameh is purely based on digression, so there you have it. And I think, what else should we see? What have I shown you? The falcon, the cubs, the cheetah. Have I shown you the cheetahs and the snakes? I don't think I have. So here we have it. Cheetahs and snakes. I like this one a lot. I show you this one. Oh, the board game here. You have the board, like the ego board I showed you before. You have a better picture of it. And I've shown you the hyena, the weight standard. Oh my god. I think I would like... This one's beautiful, by the way, and large. This one's big. I want to finish the stream with the vase that started everything for me, because this was the first artifact I saw from Jiroft culture. And I was starstruck. I said that already. I'm sorry. I tend to repeat myself. But chat, I really hope you've enjoyed this look at the artifacts of chlorite and the culture of Jiroft, and that maybe you're interested as I was, because I mean this when I say it. Cheers to you. I mean this, but the topic is not very well known in Western academia, in pop culture, definitely not. And I love bringing this to you. And maybe now you're so interested that you're going to start reading about Jiroft yourself. And that would make me so happy. So if you do, please tell me. And yeah, just come. Thank you so much, Nefer. And yeah, please just come to Discord with us. And, you know, have a conversation. Have a cup of tea. Say hello. Participate. Or just don't say anything, but stay there with us. Because we have the best community in the entire world. And that is... factual. I say this in every stream, but because it is true. I mean, eso sale por la mañana, mi comunidad es la mejor. Like, the sun comes up from the east, and my community is just the best of the best. The topic is also quite new. It is quite new, that's for certain. Yeah. Yalla, over there. Yeah. Boro. Boro. Boro means go. Like, in a very imperative way. Boro. Like, go. Borobirun, the mamon of a friend, when we were getting a little bit of annoying, that is what she used to say. Borobirun, that means go away. Like, go far from me. And is that something you say in your family? Tira pa allá, yeah. The Borobirun is the tira pa allá, yeah. Borobirun. And yeah, the topic is quite new, or local, but also there's been unearthings in the 20... Borobaba. Oh my god, but chat, since we're talking so much about Persian and Persian language and Persian culture, this that I just did, that is so disrespectful in Spain. Terrible. It could get you into a fight. But in Iran, it's just a very common way of saying no. Even when they press their lips, like, it's not throwing a kiss. It's like, nah. If you do that in Spain, someone's gonna fight you. And they would be so rightful. Never. When I came back from Iran, I didn't stop doing that because I feel it's so good. Hey, do you wanna... You need to click your tongue. But in Spain, I remember, I think it was my brother or my mom or something was like, whoa, rude. And like, it's like thumbs up in it. Yeah, like, we're saying no. Like, especially if you like frown a little bit, or just leave your hand. You're like, Aziza, would you like another cup of tea? Yeah, like, you're good. Yeah, that's all right. I think I'm going to start doing it more on streams because I love it. But not so much outside because I value my life and the prosperity of my physical existence. So I am good. Anyway, Bacha, thank you so much for joining me. Uloko, you were saying that the topic was very young because it was discovered, the city was unearthed in 2001. You're not wrong, but still, it's not something that we've put so much attention. If this had happened, say, in the United States of America and a completely new civilization was unearthed, I think we would have heard like everything. We would be still talking about it, and it would be like, oh my god, the biggest discovery of the 20th century and the 21st century is like a new... But it happened to be in Iran, so perhaps not that important? I don't know, that's only my own thought. Thank you for joining me in this live stream. I hope you have had a blast. I hope you've learned a little bit more about a not so well-known culture. And I think you're going to research a little bit more about it and get to know the gorgeousness of Jiroft. And yeah, if you want to see more artifacts, I'm going to definitely be sharing them. Thanks to you for being here, and thanks to you for making this possible, because again, patrons, you are the ones choosing the topic, and I love you a lot for that. For responding to my call. Gondor calls for aid, and Rohan shall respond. And I had a blast. This was this is now put among my favorite live streams just because of all the Persianism. See, this is what I like about having Persian speakers on my live stream, that I can say like, and they understand. It's not me being rude, it's me saying nah. Okay, so now I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let you go about your day. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for all the new people. There's quite a good amount of decent people. Oh, muchas gracias, that's a lot. Oh, I'm making you all trilingual here. Thank you, that means a lot to me. Oh, that's very sweet of you. That is them. And next week we have Book of Kings. Next week we have Book of Kings in Spanish, and next week we have Book of Kings in it. I love the Book of Kings. I breathe the Book of Kings. I inhale the pages of the Book of Kings. So, Lucía, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic week. And as always, remember to create, to explore, and to have lots and tons of fun. Until we see each other the next time, I bid you... Is it active? Like, I have the command active? Yes. So let's do that again, shall we? Until I see you next time, I bid you Khuda Hafiz.